Then this console cable for accessing a device directly for the first time, or if there is any outage caused due to human error or wrong config or due to whatever uh, outage, you can use console cable to access a device. So one end will be RJ45, other will be either USB or DB9. Okay, so this is a serial connector, this one. This thing I explained you, mainly you can access it using a hyper terminal. Alright, there used to be an application on the Windows hyper terminal, or nowadays Putty is capable. I told you that you need to define the COM port number. Voltage level I mentioned plus minus 3.3 volt and plus minus 12 volt. You can also transfer data. Sometimes in past there was a requirement to copy the image from my PC, which is connected to a new switch using console cable. If I have to transfer the file over to that, it could be done, but the speed would be very, very slow. By default it is set to 9600 baud per second. So we used to increase its speed, but it was painfully slow. For a simple 10 MB file will take around 10 hours. So it is for very small amount of data transfer, mainly for accessing and configuring the devices at the local level, or whenever there is an upgrade going on. So you will make an arrangement of the console cable if any device doesn't come up. Okay, I'll show you the pictures as well. So serial cables in the WAN, wide area network. So I told you these are used in the WAN and for long distance communication. Nowadays we use Ethernet based technologies, but in past we used to have cables like T1, E1, STM1 links. E1 used to have up to 2 Mbps speed only. Okay, now you would laugh because even our mobiles are capable of accessing the data up to 1 Gbps, right? At that time 2 Mbps was enough, and in fact we used to have ISDNs which were only capable up to 128 kbps. Okay, we used to have this kind of arrangements in frame relay. So T1 is not used in India, means even in past, but in US and Japan you'll find this standard. T1 means up to 1.544 Mbps. E1 is 2.048 Mbps, because at that time the these requirements were not very much. Okay, so STM1 links, I had seen these being used in Fossil and some of the companies. At that time these were supplying up to 155 Mbps download speed and upload as well. Okay, so synchronous transport module means the same upload and download. So these will have connectors like DB60 connector type, or smart serial, or paired. These are the connector types. All right, so inside, once you use this connection, then there will be two protocols for encapsulation. One is PPP, point to point, and then there is HDLC. I forgot the full form of this. So you should know these things, right? So traditionally these serial cables were limited in bandwidth. I told you up to 2 Mbps. STM1 was up to 155 Mbps. Now we have Ethernet based technologies. Okay, so it was the time of 2007 until 2010. Yeah. So in the in the training centers or in the environments, when I did my CCNA, what the instructor used to do, he used to connect two routers using this crossover serial cable. So in this serial cables we have concept of DTE and DCE, that is data communication and data transfer equipment. So DTE is the device which sends and transmits the data, like you have two routers, both will be DTE, right? But in the lab, what we used to do, we used to make one as a DCE. So DCE is actually a device which facilitates the communication between the DTEs, right? So DCE will be your modem, or it can be your CSU or DSU, that is channel or data service unit. So or means this device will be managed by your ISP only. So okay, CSU, DSU, don't worry about it. So we used to set up clock in that. Clock ensures that the transmission is in sync and the data is transferred reliably. All right. Nowadays we don't use these things. Ethernet cables are enough. All right. So we have fast Ethernet. Now even fast Ethernet is only restricted, only being used in the laptops. Okay, we used to have Ethernets, 10 Mbps, fast Ethernet 100 Mbps. Nowadays we have Gbps, 1 Gbps. Nowadays we have gigabit Ethernets, which are up to 1 Gbps. Okay, gigabit. Let's take a look at the pictures. This one is your Ethernet cable, straight and cross. Cross cable will generally be red cable, generally, but you will not see much. I told you the reason. This one is optical cable. Look at the connector. This is LC connector, small in size. And this one is a rollover cable. That is your console cable. This end is a DB9 and this one is RJ45. Okay. So like your PC or workstation doesn't have this DB9 connector. So you need to use a additional connector which will connect on this part, and other end will go to your USB. And the second type of cable for console is this one, USB to RJ45. This is very much used these days. And this one is the one which I was saying for connecting the routers, right? So this is a serial DB60. Okay. So nowadays you will not have this kind of scenario. I remember we used to set up clock on DCE device. One of the devices will be DCE. Anyways, so you learned about the type of cables. This is important and imperative that you have this understanding, right? And I will also cover the video on the modules on the devices for these type of cables. All right, this is also important. So I hope you enjoyed it, and do give me appropriate rating and feedback. And thank you so much for your time and patiently listening to me. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.